If you have been paying attention to the headlines lately, you have probably felt that uneasy sense that the ground under gun owners' feet keeps shifting. Laws are being proposed, challenged, rewritten, and sometimes quietly enforced in ways that leave a lot of people confused about what is actually legal and what might not be a year from now. Today I want to walk you through a list of firearms that many Americans own, trust, and rely on, and explain why they keep showing up in political debates and legislative crosshairs. This is not about panic. It is about understanding how fast things are moving and why staying informed matters more than ever. By the time you reach the end of this video, you will have a much clearer picture of why these specific firearms are being talked about so much and why the conversation around them is far from over. Taurus G3C is one of those handguns that quietly earned its reputation not through hype or influencer marketing, but by showing up day after day as a practical tool for real people who needed dependable self-defense without an intimidating price tag. This compact semi-automatic pistol was designed from the ground up to balance concealability, shootability, and affordability, and that balance is exactly why it resonated with such a wide audience. With an overall length of roughly 6.3 inches, a barrel length just over 3 inches, and a height that stays compact enough for inside-the-waistband carry, the G3C fits easily into daily life without demanding special holsters or oversized clothing. Its polymer frame keeps weight down, coming in at just over 22 ounces unloaded, which matters a lot for people who actually carry every day rather than leaving a gun in a drawer. Chambered in 9mm, the G3C uses a striker-fired system with a trigger that is intentionally consistent and predictable, not match-grade by any stretch, but smooth enough for defensive shooting and easy for new owners to learn without developing bad habits. The grip texture and ergonomics are simple but effective, giving solid control even for shooters with smaller hands. And the frame includes an integrated accessory rail that allows the use of compact lights, a feature that used to be reserved for much more expensive pistols. One of the standout design choices is the manual thumb safety, which some shooters appreciate as an extra layer of reassurance, especially those new to concealed carry or those transitioning from older handgun platforms. Standard magazines typically hold 12 rounds, which for years struck a sweet spot between capacity and compact size. But that same capacity is now exactly what places the G3C under scrutiny as more jurisdictions push 10-round limits. From a mechanical standpoint, the pistol has proven to be remarkably reliable for its class, feeding a wide range of defensive and practice ammunition without constant tuning or aftermarket parts. And its simple takedown process makes routine cleaning accessible even for owners with little technical experience. Sights are basic but functional, with a white dot front that is easy to pick up in defensive distances, reinforcing the idea that this gun was built for practical use rather than competition or showmanship. The biggest strength of the G3C has always been accessibility, not just in price, which has hovered around a level that many working families can realistically afford, but in how unintimidating it feels to pick up, learn, and trust. That accessibility is also why it has become a lightning rod in political and legal discussions. As regulations increasingly focus on capacity, transfers, and approved model lists, pistols like the G3C are no longer judged solely on function or safety, but on how many people rely on them. Owners worry less about dramatic overnight bans and more about the slow erosion of availability, the disappearance of compliant magazines, or restrictions that make selling, gifting, or even repairing their firearm more complicated than it needs to be. There's also a broader concern that when affordable, no-frills handguns are pushed out of the market through regulation rather than design flaws, the result is a system where self-defense becomes a luxury item instead of a practical option. The Taurus G3C sits right at the center of that conversation, not because it is extreme or controversial in its engineering, but because it represents a gateway into gun ownership for people who do not see firearms as hobbies or status symbols, but as tools they hope they never have to use. Its future, like the future of many similar handguns, feels uncertain not due to mechanical shortcomings, but because of how quickly the rules around ownership can change, leaving everyday owners trying to keep up with laws that often feel disconnected from the realities of why guns like the G3C became popular in the first place. Mossberg 930 SPX is a shotgun that clearly shows how a firearm engineered for real performance can become controversial not because of how it functions, but because of how it is perceived and categorized. Designed as a semi-automatic 12-gauge, the 930 SPX was built with speed, control, and reliability as its core priorities, making it appealing to competitive shooters, home defenders, and professional users alike. It features an overall length of roughly 41 inches, combined with an 18.5-inch barrel that offers a practical balance between maneuverability and effective ballistic performance. This length allows the shotgun to be handled confidently in tight interior spaces while still delivering consistent patterns and energy from defensive loads. The heart of the 930 SPX is its gas-operated action, which redirects a portion of the expanding gases from each shot to cycle the bolt, resulting in noticeably reduced felt recoil compared to pump-action shotguns or harsher semi-automatic systems. This softer recoil impulse allows shooters to stay on target, manage muzzle rise, and fire faster follow-up shots without losing control, especially during longer training sessions or high round count use. Unloaded weight sits at approximately 7.5 pounds, giving the shotgun a slightly forward balance that helps stabilize the muzzle while still allowing quick transitions between targets. The extended magazine tube typically provides a capacity of 7 rounds plus 1 in the chamber, a configuration chosen to reduce reload frequency in defensive or competition-oriented scenarios. Mossberg equipped the 930 SPX with robust ghost ring sights, featuring a protected front post and an adjustable rear aperture, offering a clear and durable sight picture that performs well in low light and under rapid fire, a significant advantage over traditional bead sights. The pistol grip stock enhances ergonomics by improving wrist alignment and providing greater leverage during recoil control, particularly for shooters who adopt a modern, squared stance. Controls are intentionally oversized, including a large charging handle and a prominent safety, ensuring the shotgun can be manipulated quickly and confidently under stress. From a reliability standpoint, the 930 platform has earned a solid reputation for cycling a wide range of ammunition, from reduced recoil loads to full-power defensive shells, as long as routine maintenance and proper lubrication are observed. The strengths of the Mossberg 930 SPX are obvious in use. Reduced recoil, higher capacity, fast handling, and durable sighting systems all contribute to its effectiveness as a practical shotgun. However, these same features also place it squarely in the crosshairs of certain legislative definitions. In some jurisdictions, the combination of a semi-automatic action, pistol grip stock, and extended magazine capacity is enough to trigger restrictive classifications, regardless of how the shotgun is actually used. Once those classifications apply, consequences can escalate quickly, with new sales halted, transfers restricted, and compliance options limited or unavailable because the core features are integral to the design. Owners who purchase the 930 SPX legally may suddenly face registration requirements or outright bans, depending on how laws evolve. What frustrates many is that the shotgun itself remains unchanged. The gas system still reduces recoil, the barrel length is the same, and the design continues to perform exactly as intended. Only the language surrounding it shifts, and that shift alone can redefine a practical, purpose-built shotgun into a prohibited item. This gap between real-world function and legal perception is why the Mossberg 930 SPX continues to appear in heated debates, representing a broader struggle over how firearms are defined rather than how they actually perform. Ruger Precision Rifle is the firearm that fundamentally changed how everyday shooters looked at long-range accuracy. Because before it existed, consistent sub-MOA performance was usually locked behind custom builds, boutique gunsmiths, and price tags that scared off anyone who was not fully committed to the discipline. Ruger approached the problem from an engineering standpoint, designing a bolt-action rifle that delivered true precision straight out of the box, while remaining accessible to dedicated hobbyists who wanted results without spending years chasing parts. Built on a rigid chassis system rather than a traditional stock, The Ruger precision rifle features an overall length that typically falls between 44 and 47 inches, depending on configuration, with a heavy counterbarrel that commonly measures 24 inches in popular calibers, optimized for velocity consistency and heat management during extended shooting strings. The cold hammer forged barrel is paired with a threaded muzzle, allowing shooters to attach brakes or other devices to manage recoil and stay on target, which is especially valuable when spotting impacts at long distances. One of the rifle's defining elements is its fully adjustable folding stock, which allows for precise length of pull, cheek height, and shoulder fit, making it possible for shooters of different sizes to achieve a repeatable shooting position without aftermarket upgrades. The folding mechanism also improves transport and storage, reducing overall length when collapsed without compromising structural rigidity when deployed. At the core of the rifle is Ruger's bolt system, designed to provide smooth, consistent lockup and reliable feeding from detachable magazines, most commonly compatible with widely available pattern magazines, a choice that reduced cost and simplified logistics for shooters who already own similar platforms. Weight typically comes in around 10 pounds unloaded, which may sound heavy, but that mass plays a crucial role in stability, recoil control, and shot-to-shot consistency, all critical factors in long-range shooting. The trigger system is user-adjustable, allowing shooters to fine-tune pull weight to match their preferences while maintaining a clean, predictable break, another feature that previously required aftermarket investment. Ergonomics were clearly a priority in the design, with a vertical grip angle that promotes proper trigger control and reduces fatigue during prone or bench shooting sessions. From a performance perspective, the Ruger precision rifle earned its reputation by delivering repeatable accuracy with factory ammunition, allowing shooters to focus on fundamentals like wind reading and ballistic calculations rather than fighting mechanical inconsistencies. Its strengths are obvious: outstanding out-of-the-box accuracy, modular adjustability, compatibility with common accessories, and a design that supports learning and progression in long-range shooting. At the same time, those very features are what draw legislative attention in certain jurisdictions. Folding stocks and detachable magazines are often singled out in modern rifle restrictions, and when laws are written broadly, they rarely distinguish between a precision bolt-action rifle built for target shooting and other firearms with entirely different use cases. Ruger has been clear that they are not interested in producing heavily altered compliance versions that strip away the core design elements, which means the rifle's availability can instantly shift from widely accessible to completely unavailable depending on local law. For shooters who invested years into developing long-range skills, dialing optics, and learning external ballistics, the idea that a rifle designed around precision and consistency could be regulated out of reach feels especially frustrating. The Ruger precision rifle represents more than just a product. It represents a moment when high-level accuracy became attainable for regular shooters, and that is precisely why its future sparks such strong reactions whenever legislation enters the conversation. Smith & Wesson Model 686 is a revolver that has long been viewed as the definition of a safe, traditional, and dependable firearm, which is exactly why so many people are caught off guard when it appears in modern restriction discussions. Built on Smith & Wesson's robust L-frame, the Model 686 was engineered to handle powerful loads while maintaining long-term durability, making it a favorite among law enforcement officers, home defenders, and recreational shooters for decades. With an overall length that varies depending on barrel configuration, commonly ranging from around 9.5 inches with a 4-inch barrel to over 11 inches with a 6-inch barrel, the 686 offers options that balance portability and shootability. The stainless steel construction adds weight, typically coming in between 38 and 44 ounces unloaded, which helps absorb recoil and contributes to the revolver's reputation for controllability and longevity. One of the defining characteristics of the Model 686 is its 7-round cylinder, a design choice that set it apart from traditional 6-shot revolvers by offering a slight increase in capacity without sacrificing strength or reliability. Chambered in powerful revolver calibers, the 686 was designed to deliver consistent performance with a wide range of loads, making it versatile enough for defensive use, range training, and even hunting applications in some configurations. The double-action and single-action trigger system allows shooters to choose between a longer, deliberate pull or a lighter, more precise break, depending on the situation, and the internal mechanics are widely respected for their smoothness when properly maintained. Ergonomics are classic and functional, with a grip angle that naturally aligns the sights when a revolver is raised, contributing to intuitive handling for shooters of varying experience levels. The sights themselves are typically a combination of a ramped front sight and an adjustable rear, allowing for precise zeroing and adaptability across different ammunition types. One of the biggest advantages of the Model 686 has always been its mechanical simplicity. With no magazines to seat, slides to rack, or feeding cycles to manage, many owners trust revolvers like this specifically because they function in a straightforward, predictable way. That trust is deeply ingrained, which is why the current controversy feels so jarring. The issue does not stem from any recent design change, but from how laws increasingly focus on numerical thresholds, such as round count or energy output. When regulations draw hard lines, even a 7-shot revolver that has existed in nearly the same form for generations can suddenly fall outside newly defined limits. Owners who have relied on the 686 for years are left trying to understand how a platform so rooted in American firearms history could be reclassified as problematic. There's also concern about how these definitions might evolve, potentially affecting transfers, inheritance, or even continued ownership. While some proposals are still being challenged and debated, the uncertainty alone creates tension for longtime owners who chose the Model 686 precisely because it seemed immune to shifting trends and political attention. The revolver itself has not changed. Its steel frame, robust cylinder, and proven design continue to perform exactly as intended. What has changed is the regulatory environment surrounding it, and that shift forces owners to question assumptions that once felt rock solid. The Smith & Wesson Model 686 now stands as a reminder that even the most traditional firearms are not necessarily insulated from modern legal debates. And that realization has left many dedicated revolver enthusiasts watching developments far more closely than they ever expected to. CZ Shadow 2 is a pistol that was engineered with a singular purpose in mind, and that purpose was to dominate competitive shooting by maximizing speed, control, and precision in the hands of skilled shooters. Built as an all-steel, full-size, semi-automatic handgun, the Shadow 2 immediately stands out for its weight and balance. Coming in at roughly 46 ounces unloaded, a deliberate design choice that helps reduce recoil and muzzle flip during rapid fire. With an overall length of about 8.5 inches and a barrel length just under 5 inches, the pistol offers a long sight radius that enhances accuracy while maintaining a profile that is optimized for competition holsters rather than concealment. Chambered in 9mm, the Shadow 2 feeds from magazines that typically hold 19 rounds, a capacity that allows competitors to engage complex stages with fewer reloads, saving critical time when fractions of a second matter. The frame and slide geometry were refined specifically to lower the bore axis, helping keep the pistol flat during recoil and allowing shooters to track the front sight or optic more efficiently between shots. One of the most praised aspects of the Shadow 2 is its trigger system, which offers a smooth double-action pull and a crisp, light single-action brake, giving competitors flexibility depending on division rules and personal preference. The grip ergonomics are another standout feature, with aggressive texturing, an extended beaver tail, and interchangeable grip panels that allow shooters to tailor the feel to their hands, resulting in exceptional control during long match days. The pistol is equipped with high-visibility competition sights, often a fiber optic front paired with a blacked-out rear, designed to draw the eye naturally and support fast target acquisition under bright outdoor lighting. Internally, the Shadow 2 benefits from tight tolerances and a robust slide-to-frame fit that contribute to its reputation for excellent mechanical accuracy, allowing shooters to focus on fundamentals like movement, transitions, and stage planning rather than fighting inconsistencies in the firearm. From a performance standpoint, the advantages are clear: exceptional recoil management, outstanding accuracy, durable all-steel construction, and a layout optimized for high round count competition use. However, those same features are also what place the CZ Shadow 2 under scrutiny when legislation begins to target high-capacity semi-automatic pistols without acknowledging context. On paper, an all-steel handgun with a 19-round magazine can be portrayed as excessive by those unfamiliar with competitive shooting sports, even though every design choice was made to enhance safety, control, and performance within a regulated sporting environment. When laws fail to distinguish between competition pistols and other categories of firearms, models like the Shadow 2 can become collateral damage. Competitive shooters are then forced to think beyond performance and consider whether future regulations could require registration, impose additional fees, or limit where and how their equipment can be used. The concern is not just about purchasing new pistols or magazines, but about the possibility that firearms they have trained with for years could suddenly be burdened with legal obstacles. For many competitors, shooting sports are not a casual pastime, but a serious commitment involving thousands of rounds of practice, travel to matches, and a deep connection to their equipment. The idea of losing access to a core tool like the CZ Shadow 2 feels personal, as if part of their identity within the sport is being questioned. The pistol itself has not changed. Its weight, balance, trigger, and performance remain exactly what competitors rely on to perform at a high level. What has changed is how those characteristics are interpreted in legal discussions, and that disconnect leaves many shooters watching legislative developments with growing concern, hoping that the distinction between sport and perception is not completely lost. Remington 7400 is a rifle that for decades quietly earned its place as a trusted tool in American deer camps, long before modern political language began lumping very different firearms into the same categories. Designed as a semi-automatic hunting rifle, the Model 7400 was built to provide hunters with reliable follow-up shots, manageable recoil, and familiar ergonomics in common hunting calibers suited for medium to large game. Depending on configuration, the rifle typically features an overall length of around 44 inches, with a barrel length close to 22 inches, dimensions that strike a balance between accuracy, velocity, and ease of handling in wooded terrain. Weighing roughly 7.5 to 8 pounds unloaded, the 7400 carries comfortably over long days in the field while remaining stable enough for deliberate shots from standing, kneeling, or supported positions. One of its defining characteristics is the detachable box magazine, usually holding 4 rounds, which was never intended to increase firepower, but rather to improve safety and convenience by allowing hunters to load and unload the rifle without cycling live rounds through the action. The gas-operated semi-automatic system was engineered to cycle smoothly with hunting ammunition, reducing felt recoil and allowing shooters to stay on target for ethical follow-up shots if needed. The rifle's traditional design, often featuring a wooden stock and classic lines, helped it blend seamlessly into hunting culture, and for many families it became a passed-down firearm associated with shared seasons and long-standing traditions. From a practical standpoint, the Remington 7400 offered several advantages that hunters valued. Consistent accuracy for typical hunting distances, ease of use for shooters of varying experience levels, and a familiar manual of arms that did not require specialized training. Its drawbacks were equally understood and accepted, including sensitivity to maintenance and ammunition selection, which meant owners learned to keep the rifle clean and properly lubricated to ensure reliability. None of these characteristics were controversial for decades, which is why the rifle's appearance in modern legislative discussions has been so jarring to many hunters. When laws are written broadly to classify any semi-automatic rifle with a detachable magazine as inherently problematic, the context of use disappears entirely. A hunting rifle designed for ethical game harvest becomes discussed in the same breath as firearms built for completely different purposes, despite having a long record of lawful and responsible use. This shift has pushed hunters, who historically stayed out of political firearm debates, to become far more vocal. For them, The issue is not about expanding access or pushing boundaries, but about protecting a tool that has been integral to lawful hunting for generations. Hunting is not merely a recreational activity. It is a system that directly supports wildlife conservation through license fees, excise taxes, and habitat funding. When regulations threaten to restrict commonly used hunting rifles like the Remington 7400, the impact reaches beyond individual owners and into conservation programs that depend on active participation. Hunters worry that restricting familiar platforms could discourage new participants, disrupt long-standing practices, and erode public support for wildlife management efforts. The rifle itself has not changed. Its semi-automatic action, modest magazine capacity, and traditional design remain exactly as they were when it earned acceptance across the country. What has changed is the framework used to judge it, where mechanical features are evaluated without regard to history, intent, or real-world use. The Remington 7400 now stands as an example of how broad legal definitions can unintentionally pull everyday hunting rifles into debates they were never meant to be part of, leaving hunters concerned not only about their equipment, but about the future of a culture and conservation system that has relied on firearms like this for generations. Beretta M9 is a handgun that carries an unusual amount of emotional and historical weight, not because of cutting-edge design or modern trends, but because of the role it played for generations of American service members. Adopted as the standard U.S. military sidearm in the mid-1980s, the M9 became a constant companion for soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who trained with it extensively and relied on it in environments where reliability mattered far more than innovation. Built on the Beretta 92 platform, the M9 is a full-size, semi-automatic pistol with an overall length of roughly 8.5 inches, a barrel length just under 5 inches, and an unloaded weight of around 34 ounces thanks to its aluminum alloy frame and steel slide. That size and weight combination was intentionally chosen to balance durability with controllability, allowing the pistol to absorb recoil effectively while remaining manageable during long training sessions. Chambered in 9mm, the M9 feeds from a standard 15-round magazine, a capacity that for decades was considered normal for a duty handgun and aligned with its role as a service sidearm rather than a compact civilian carry gun. The open slide design is one of the pistol's most recognizable features, reducing the likelihood of certain malfunctions by allowing spent casings to eject cleanly and helping maintain reliability in adverse conditions. The locking block system, rather than a traditional tilting barrel design, contributes to smooth cycling and consistent accuracy, while also spreading stress across components to enhance service life. The double-action single-action trigger system allows the first shot to be fired with a longer, heavier pull, followed by lighter single-action pulls, a configuration that many service members became deeply familiar with through years of training. The frame-mounted safety and decocker reflect military requirements for safe handling and administrative use, reinforcing the pistol's identity as a duty weapon designed around strict protocols. From a performance perspective, the M9 earned its reputation not by being the smallest or lightest pistol, but by being dependable, predictable, and forgiving, traits that mattered more than raw concealability in a military context. After leaving the service, countless veterans sought out civilian versions of the same pistol because it represented familiarity, confidence, and a tangible link to a defining chapter of their lives. Owning an M9 was not just about self-defense or shooting enjoyment. For many, it was about continuity and trust built through experience. That is why seeing the Beretta M9 included in modern band proposals strikes such a nerve. On paper, the arguments often focus on magazine capacity or the pistol's military origin, but those points barely scratch the surface of why reactions are so strong. For veterans, being told that a firearm they carried in service is now considered inappropriate or unacceptable for civilian ownership feels deeply personal, as if a piece of their history is being redefined without regard for context. The pistol itself has not changed. Its dimensions, operating system, and intended role remain exactly the same as they were when it was issued to millions of service members. What has changed is the way those characteristics are framed in legal and political discussions. The concern among owners is not limited to the ability to purchase new pistols, but extends to questions about continued ownership, transfer to family members, and whether future restrictions might further distance veterans from an object that holds real meaning. The Beretta M9 stands as more than just a handgun in these debates. It represents service, familiarity, and trust built over time. And that emotional connection is precisely why it continues to spark intense reactions whenever new rules are proposed. For many who carried it, the conversation is not just about specifications or capacity limits, but about respect for the experiences tied to a firearm that was once issued by the very institution now watching its civilian ownership questioned. AR-15 pistol platform represents one of the most complex and emotionally charged controversies in the modern firearms landscape, largely because it sits at the intersection of modular design, regulatory interpretation, and owner intent. From a technical standpoint, the AR-15 pistol was developed as a compact variant of the AR system, typically featuring barrel lengths ranging from 7 to 10.5 inches, an overall length often under 26 inches depending on configuration, and a weight that usually falls between 5 and 7 pounds unloaded. These shorter dimensions made the platform easier to maneuver in confined spaces while still retaining the familiar controls, ergonomics, and customization options that made the AR system so widely adopted. The defining characteristic that separated these firearms from rifles was the absence of a traditional stock and the use of stabilizing braces, which were originally introduced to help shooters control the firearm with one hand while maintaining legal classification as a pistol. This design choice allowed owners to configure their firearms in a way that complied with existing laws while still benefiting from the AR platform's modularity, including interchangeable uppers, handguards, triggers, and optics. The buffer tube system, free-floating handguards, and gas-operated action all contributed to reliable cycling even in short-barrel configurations, provided the system was properly tuned. Many owners chose AR-15 pistols not as loopholes, but as compliant solutions, relying on published guidance and regulatory approvals at the time of purchase. The advantages of the platform were clear: compact size, familiar manual of arms, compatibility with common accessories, and versatility for training, home defense, or recreational shooting. At the same time, short barrels can increase muzzle blast and reduce velocity, and the added complexity of tuning gas systems in compact configurations requires a level of technical understanding that not all owners possess. Despite these trade-offs, the platform grew rapidly in popularity because it offered flexibility without, at the time, crossing legal boundaries. That sense of stability was disrupted when brace classifications were reinterpreted, and firearms that had been purchased, configured, and used in good faith were suddenly placed into a legal gray area. Owners who had relied on prior guidance found themselves facing difficult choices, including registration, modification, or potential removal from circulation. The addition of registration requirements and tax implications amplified frustration, not just because of cost, but because of the feeling that rules were being applied retroactively. For many owners, the issue was not resistance to regulation itself, but the speed and opacity with which interpretations changed. A platform built around modularity suddenly became a liability, as small configuration details could determine legality. This situation exposed a deeper challenge within the regulatory system, where definitions hinge on physical characteristics rather than clear intent or function, leaving everyday owners struggling to interpret compliance without legal expertise. The AR-15 pistol platform itself has not fundamentally changed. Its dimensions, operating system, and design principles remain the same as when it gained widespread acceptance. What changed was the framework used to evaluate it, transforming a once compliant configuration into a source of uncertainty almost overnight. For owners who took care to follow the rules as they understood them, this shift felt less like regulation and more like moving goalposts. The controversy surrounding the AR-15 pistol platform highlights how quickly regulatory interpretations can evolve and how difficult it can be for ordinary people to keep pace, especially when guidance appears settled one moment and reverse the next. It serves as a reminder that in a system built on detailed definitions, clarity and consistency matter just as much as the rules themselves, because without them, even well-intentioned compliance can turn into unintended risk. Mossberg 590 Shockwave is a firearm that perfectly illustrates how innovative engineering can collide head-on with shifting legal definitions, creating uncertainty for owners who believe they were making a compliant and responsible choice. Developed as a compact, pump-action 12-gauge, the 590 Shockwave was intentionally designed to meet federal requirements without being classified as a traditional shotgun or rifle, using an overall length just over 26 inches and a 14-inch barrel to remain outside short-barreled shotgun definitions under federal law. That careful balance of dimensions was not accidental. Mossberg engineered the platform around a bird's head-style grip rather than shoulder stock, allowing the firearm to maintain legal status while offering a form factor that was easier to maneuver in tight spaces such as hallways, vehicles, or small rooms. Weighing in at roughly 5¼ pounds unloaded, the Shockwave is noticeably lighter than full-size shotguns, which makes it easier to handle for users who may struggle with heavier defensive firearms. The pump-action system is based on the proven Mossberg 590 lineage, known for durability, simple operation, and the ability to cycle a wide range of ammunition reliably without relying on gas systems or complex internals. The action is paired with a tubular magazine that typically holds 5 rounds, a capacity chosen to keep the firearm compact while still offering sufficient defensive capability. One of the defining features of the 590 Shockwave is its short barrel length, which significantly reduces overall size and improves maneuverability, but also introduces trade-offs such as increased recoil and muzzle blast that require proper technique and familiarity. Mossberg addressed control concerns by designing the grip to encourage a natural wrist angle and by adding features like a strapped fore end, helping users maintain control during cycling and recoil management. From a functional standpoint, the Shockwave filled a niche that many homeowners found appealing, offering 12-gauge power in a compact package that could be stored discreetly and deployed quickly when needed. Its straightforward manual of arms made it accessible to users who preferred mechanical simplicity over electronic optics or complex accessories. These qualities drove rapid popularity, and that popularity brought attention. As more people became aware of the platform, state legislatures began scrutinizing the category it occupied, questioning whether a firearm that did not fit neatly into existing definitions should continue to exist in that space. Even though the 590 Shockwave was designed specifically to comply with established federal guidelines, new interpretations and reclassifications at the state level began to place owners in difficult positions. In some jurisdictions, the firearm was redefined as a restricted or prohibited item, forcing owners to navigate registration requirements, surrender options, or outright bans. The most frustrating aspect for many is that the firearm itself did not change. Its barrel length, overall dimensions, and operating system remain exactly as they were when it was legally purchased. What changed was the interpretation of a law surrounding it. This has made activities like traveling across state lines particularly risky, as legality can shift dramatically from one jurisdiction to another with little warning or consistency. Owners who once viewed the Shockwave as a compliant and practical defensive tool are now left questioning long-term ownership, transfer options, and even simple transportation. The Mossberg 590 Shockwave highlights a broader issue within firearms regulation, where innovation designed to meet the letter of the law can later be reinterpreted as a problem rather than a solution. For many owners, the concern is not about pushing boundaries, but about stability and clarity. They chose the Shockwave because it appeared to offer both legality and functionality, and the sudden shift in how it is classified has left them feeling exposed to risks they never anticipated. The platform now stands as a reminder that when legal definitions evolve faster than product design, even firearms built specifically for compliance can become symbols of uncertainty almost overnight. FN SCAR 17S is a rifle that occupies a rare space where engineering performance, premium cost, and cultural reputation all converge. And that combination is exactly why it draws so much attention whenever firearm regulations are discussed. Developed as the civilian semi-automatic version of a rifle platform used by elite military units around the world, the SCAR 17S carries an identity that extends far beyond its mechanical function. From a technical perspective, it is a full-power battle rifle chambered in 7.62 NATO, built around a short-stroke gas piston system that was designed to run cleanly and reliably under harsh conditions. The rifle features an overall length of roughly 39 inches with the stock extended and approximately 28 inches when folded, paired with a 16-inch cold hammer forged barrel that balances ballistic performance with maneuverability. Unloaded weight comes in at just under 8 pounds, which is relatively light for a rifle in this caliber class. And that weight savings is achieved through extensive use of high-strength polymer and aluminum components without sacrificing durability. One of the SCAR 17SS most distinctive design elements is its monolithic upper receiver, which provides exceptional rigidity and a continuous top rail for mounting optics while maintaining consistent accuracy across different shooting setups. The folding and telescoping stock is fully adjustable for length of pull and cheek height, allowing shooters to tailor the rifle to their body and optic choice, and it can be folded to reduce overall length for transport or storage without disabling the firing system. The ambidextrous controls reflect its military heritage, with charging handles, safety selectors, and magazine releases accessible from either side, making the rifle adaptable to a wide range of shooters and shooting positions. Recoil management is another standout characteristic, as the piston system and effective muzzle device help tame the impulse of the 7.62 NATO cartridge, allowing faster follow-up shots than many shooters expect from a rifle in this class. From a performance standpoint, the SCAR 17S offers excellent reliability, consistent accuracy for a semi-automatic platform, and the ability to handle a wide range of ammunition without constant tuning. These strengths come with trade-offs, including a high purchase price that often lands between $3,000 and $4,000, proprietary components that limit aftermarket compatibility, and magazines that are more expensive than common alternatives. Despite those drawbacks, owners are drawn to the rifle because it represents a pinnacle of modern rifle design, blending battlefield-proven concepts with civilian ownership. That same reputation, however, places it squarely in the spotlight when lawmakers seek examples of what they consider excessive or unnecessary for civilian use. The SCAR 17SS military lineage, powerful caliber, and unmistakable profile make it an easy symbol in political arguments, even though its semi-automatic operation places it firmly within long-established civilian firearm categories. For owners, the concern goes beyond routine restrictions. Because of the rifle's high cost and distinctive status, discussions around mandatory buybacks or targeted bans feel especially threatening. The idea of being forced to surrender a rifle that required a significant financial investment, not to mention time spent training and configuring it, creates anxiety that is both practical and emotional. Many owners did not purchase the SCAR 17S as a statement, but as a long-term investment in a reliable, high-performance rifle they intended to keep for decades. The rifle itself has not changed. Its dimensions, operating system, and intended role remain exactly as they were when it entered the civilian market. What has changed is how its image is used in broader debates, where reputation often outweighs nuance. The FN SCAR 17S now stands as an example of how a firearm can become a focal point not because of misuse or design flaws, but because it represents the upper end of capability and cost in a landscape where symbolism increasingly shapes regulation. For owners, the uncertainty surrounding its future is not just about legality, but about whether long-term ownership of premium firearms can remain stable in an environment where perception can be just as influential as function. When you step back and look at all of these firearms together, a pattern emerges. It is not about one model or one category. It is about how definitions, language, and enforcement keep evolving. Whether you agree with these laws or oppose them, understanding what is being proposed and why certain guns keep coming up is essential. The landscape is changing fast, and staying informed is the only way to navigate it responsibly. If you want to keep up with how these issues develop and what they actually mean for real people, make sure you stay connected. Knowledge is the one thing that has not been regulated out of reach yet.